Okay, let's do a consport video on one-step inequalities. Here we go. Let's go. Okay, these are actually really easy, so I'm going to do them pretty quickly. So let's just go through it. So number one here, let me zoom in a little bit more. That's going to be 4x is less than or equal to 12. How do you undo times by 4? Divide by 4 both sides. So what is x related to? X is less than or equal to 3. So that's the answer. X is less than or equal to 3. That's it. So you just go x is less than or equal to 3. And that's your answer. Okay, the next one. Let's scroll down a little bit. The next one is negative 30 is less than x divided by negative 4. So in this one, you want to get the x by itself. How do you undo divide by negative 4? You multiply both sides by a negative 4. Okay. Now, when you multiply by a negative across an inequality, you have to remember to reverse the inequality. So in this case, you'll notice that you multiply both sides by a negative 4, left and right side by a negative 4. So you're going to have to take that inequality and reverse it. So ultimately what happens here is you're going to end up with not that relationship that you already had, right, but the reverse of that relationship. So negative 4 times negative 30 is positive 120. That's not going to be less than this thing over here. It's going to be greater than. So you're going to get 120 is now greater than the value of x, because obviously negative 4 and the negative 4 cancel out, because negative 4 over negative 4 is 1. So you get x there, right? So we get an answer that 120 is greater than x, or if you want, x is greater than, or sorry, less than 120. So remember, the relationship is close towards the x. In other words, the 120 is greater than the x. So when you switch the x to the left, it still has to be true that x is less than the 120, right? Close towards the x, close towards the x. And that's the answer. So the answer is that x is just less than, not equal to, just less than 120. That's how you do that problem. Let's do the next one. So that one, the last one we had to change because we multiplied or divided by a negative across the inequality. This one, we're not going to have to do that. So on number 3 here, it's a much simpler situation. You just get x plus 5 is less than or equal to negative 4. All you're going to do to solve this problem is you're going to take away 5 from both sides. You're going to get a 0 pair on the left. And you end up with x is now less than or equal to negative 4 plus negative 5, which is negative 9. And that's it. So then you go over here, you write x is less than or equal to, and then negative 9. Now we do the next problem. Okay, on this problem, once again, we don't have to remember to switch anything. It's no multiplying or dividing by negative. It's pretty straightforward. So it's x over 25 is greater than 5. All right, all you're going to undo is undo divide by 25. So you're going to multiply both sides of your equation by 25. When you multiply both sides of your equation by 25, you don't have to do anything with the inequality because you didn't multiply by a negative. You multiply by a positive. So then it just these cancel out. You're left with 25 over 25, which is 1. So 1x is now greater than what? 5 times 25. Well, what is 5 times 25? Well, that's 125. So the answer is just going to be x is greater than 125. So over here you write x is greater than, and then 125. That's the answer. Let's do this one. Now this one you guys see you have a negative x. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to have to divide by a negative or multiply by a negative. So this one's one of those ones where you're going to reverse the inequality. So this is number 5, and you have negative x is less than negative 29. You're going to undo times by negative 1 by dividing by a negative 1, but you're dividing across the inequality by a negative 1 on both sides. So ultimately what you're going to get there is that this is going to have to reverse, right? Because you're dividing both sides across the inequality by a negative, which means you got to reverse that inequality. So your final answer here would be that positive x, change that for you guys, that positive x is not going to be less than, right? We're going to reverse that inequality. It's going to be greater than, and then negative 29 divided by negative 1 is positive 29. So it's going to be x is greater than 29. And so that's what you're going to put here. X is greater than 29. And then we're going to the next problem. Okay, so the next problem we have here is another easy one because you don't have to reverse anything. So for number 6 here, it says negative 4 plus x is less than or equal to 9. You're going to want to get the x by itself. How do you get rid of minus 4? You add 4 to both sides. So you're going to get a 0 pair on the left, which means we have x is less than or equal to 9 plus 4, which is 13. So our answer is just x is less than or equal to 13. There's no need to switch anything. We never multiply or divide by a negative, so it just stays pretty straightforward, just like when you have an equation. And you get x is less than or equal to 13. And last but not least, we have another pretty easy one here where we don't have to switch anything. And that's because it is just x over 7 is greater than or equal to negative 6. And you're not going to undo this by multiplying by a negative. You're going to multiply by a positive, right? Because how do you undo divide by 7? You multiply by positive 7, right? And when you multiply both sides by positive 7, these cancel out. 7 over 7 is 1, so you get 1x. We didn't multiply by a negative, so this stays exactly the same. And then what is negative 6 times a positive 7? That is negative 42. So your final answer is going to be x is greater than or equal to negative 42. So you write x is greater than or equal to, open towards the x, with a little line underneath, and then negative 42. And that's the answer. And hopefully that helps you guys solve lots of inequalities. All right, that's it.